Don't ride here. Ride here. Explore new horizons with Motofreight. Proud sponsors of Under the Visor.
After you, Wendy.
I'm Wendy Decker, married to John Decker. Been married 32 years and I've been the pillion on his bike for 34 years.
Been into motorcycling since I was 13. Had a couple of dirt bikes on a rubbish piece of ground in London. Got my first bike when I was 16, a moped. Because I couldn't afford a proper moped, I had to get a mobilette where the carburettor kept falling off, which was quite interesting. And then it's sort of stemmed from there.
I met him on the Saturday night and went on his bike on the Sunday morning.
I have travelled before I met Wendy, but basically a 2.5 week holiday is actually quite hard to sort of plan, and she's a great planner. So when we go away, as soon as we sort of got together, we were going away on the bike. So
we've been to Croatia, Andalusia, so we've done some quite distances in that 2 weeks.
It's normally a week and a bit out, and then you know you can get back in a week and a bit to get home. So that's what we've been doing.
I like the thrill. I'm not very worried about speed. So yeah, no, I do like it.
Shh. We don't talk about speed.
I do like it.
Yeah.
Well, I was diagnosed with a progressive neurological condition in January of last year, and we'd always talked about a trip, and basically the consultant said if you're going to do it sooner rather than later, because we don't know how long you'll be able to do it. So that's why we decided we'd do the trip, and because my condition affects my balance and my stamina really, that's why we opted for the sidecar. Although you've always John's always talked about sidecars because his dad had one, but it was never he's just talked about it, he'd like one, but we never think we'd do it, and we did.
It was a really good excuse, my wife's disease, to get a sidecar, so we got one. Had it built at Watsonians. They put a Ural sidecar on our BMW bike. They've done a fantastic job. It's not an off-road sidecar. It's a road tourer, but it does a pretty good job off-road as well.
But we did do off-road training by coming here last year. So
the tourer, obviously the Touratech event, but the instructors here sort of took us under their wing and give us the benefit of their years of motocross experience. So that worked really well. The two instructors that were here, Chris and Dave, were motocross racers on sidecars, so it really helped. And we got away on the trip, and it was absolutely brilliant. We use the best shipping company which employs naked streakers. It is the best naked streaker shipping company. The only.
I don't know how people do it without a shipping company. It was easy. Yeah.
And that was absolutely brilliant.
We did it on our bike and we picked it up at the other end, and picking it up at the other end is a lot harder, even though we had support. It's just the language problems and security in the cargo, and that only John could go, so I couldn't help with the paperwork or anything. So that was a bit of a challenge for you, wasn't it?
I'm rubbish with paperwork, needless to say. So it would be quite handy having my sidecar monkey helping out. But she wasn't there. So basically, I got to the airport and was getting through customs, etc. Which is
we haven't actually said where we were.
Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
We're in Buenos Aires. It's a great place. It was the star in our trip. We did Buenos Aires, Bolivia, Peru, Chile, and then back into Argentina. But we really took to Argentina. It was fantastic.
The scenery and the skies. I mean, when you see pictures of blue sky, and you think, oh, it's not really like that. It really is, you know, it's like bright blue and the cloud formations are amazing.
Yeah.
And I just loved the Andes. I mean, the day before we were coming back, I said, can we not just go back to the Andes? But the people as well, but it was all of it, yeah.
I thought the people were really friendly. Spanish people, the Spanish-speaking people were absolutely brilliant for us. Very helpful. All right, you know, there's a history. You always think of Clarkson with his fiasco with the Maldivas. We went over there. Everyone brought up the Maldivas, the Falklands, but no issues.
Yeah, they all said
no issues.
it's just not a topic anymore, didn't they?
It was just absolutely
not an
brilliant.
issue. Yeah.
It's used as a political pawn in their politics. But we went over from Buenos Aires over to Mendoza, and then we went up the Andes on the Route of 40. It was absolutely brilliant. So really brilliant roads, fantastic skies, fantastic motorbikes, great.
And I think the people, because we were in the sidecar, we got an amazing reaction. It was like being royalty. We were getting people overtaking us and they'd stop and film you.
Which was terrifying.
We go to a town and people would say, oh, you were at such and such yesterday because my friend sent me a picture of you on Facebook. So, you know, everywhere we went, people knew about us. So, you know, to get that positive reaction is pretty impressive.
Loved it.
We only got stuck in traffic in La Paz.
La Paz.
We didn't really anywhere else, did
was
we?
an absolute nightmare. We got hit by a bloody taxi.
In the middle of the market,
we
were at
an angle of about 40 degrees, stopped, in a market, and then a taxi decided he wanted the bit of road we were sat on. Just drove straight into us, bounced us across the road, split the mudguard, and carried on.
And we carried on.
And we carried on, up the hill, stopped, hammered it straight, put some gaffer tape on it, and used it for the rest of our trip. So no problem.
Compared with here, there are bits of traffic over there, but you can go for hours and hours and hours and see nothing. So being in the sidecar didn't delay us in any major way. Yeah, but it won't be yet. I've got a lot of work left yet. We want to do more.
We'll definitely do more. I would like to do, which is what we'll probably wind up doing, over to Alaska, driving up to Alaska, up to the Dalton Highway, and then turning round and coming the whole way down the Rockies, right the way down to South America again, well over the Darien Gap, and then continue right the way down to Ushuaia. And then you never know, might just carry on. I'm not too far from retiring now. I just hope people don't see it at work. But that's life, isn't it?
What we really enjoyed is we weren't there to tick the boxes. We did do some of the sites, we did do Machu Picchu, we did do Lake Titicaca, but there were lots of things that people say, you go to South America, you must do this, you must do that. And we didn't go for that. We were going just to be there and to experience it. And I think that's quite important for anybody who's travelling. You can spend your time going from A to B to C because people think you should, and we didn't do that.
We did what we wanted to do, and we just carried on with our plan, and it worked really well.
Don't ride here. Ride here. Explore new horizons with Motofreight, proud sponsors of Under the Visor.